last song that we're going to look at in this part of the program, because we're only tackling half of the album at a time, because we want to give each song its due. But certainly this song is an example of that, In Memoriam, and of course probably the most personal song on the album, and probably one of your most personal songs ever.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I can say that if the last song was a bit of a mystery to me, this song, the first time I heard it, which was fortunately for me, I was able to hear you sing it live a couple of times before I heard it on the album.
Yeah.
So the first time I heard you sing this live, I felt like I was standing right next to you with my hand on the middle of your back, just weeping with you, because I knew it. I had experienced it.
Yeah.
And I think anyone who's experienced the loss of a parent has experienced it.
Yeah. And you knew my dad too.
And I knew your dad.
Yeah.
So actually, I think one of the first times I heard you sing it was at the Centennial Concert Hall. And the last time I had been at the Centennial Concert Hall was, I think, to see one of your concerts as well. And the previous time, your dad was sitting right behind me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
The proud papa.
And at that one, he stood up and gave a blessing at the end.
Yes,
a blessing
he did.
To everybody. Yeah.
Yes, and it was beautiful. So, but I was right there every word of it. But I mean, I understand that you actually didn't plan to write a song about your dad.
No, I actually thought that I would actually deliberately not, because it felt to me, boy, it's still raw.
It is. Yes, I can tell you this. It's been 6 years, just over 6 years since my mom, and 5.5 since my dad.
Right.
Get in it for the long haul, my friend.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But you know what? The beauty of the tears is that you were loved.
Yeah. Yeah, the pain
mourning is beautiful.
Yeah, the pain is because something good happened, not because something bad happened. Otherwise, yay,
it wouldn't hurt. Yeah, it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah. So there's no question that this is the pain that I have about my dad's loss is because something good happened, and I don't want to paint him to be some saint. He wasn't a saint. He was a very flawed guy in many ways, but he was a good man, and he was a wise man. And I didn't really want to write a song because the thing to me about writing a song was that I don't want to reduce my dad to a song. I sort of thought there's no way I could write a song about my dad that didn't by definition lie, right? Because you can't tell the whole story.
Right, it just wouldn't be enough.
Yeah. And of course, well then, if you can't write a song about your dad, then you certainly can't write one about God, So I mean, the logic is a little flawed, but at the end, I was really planning not to. And then I was in Calgary. I was getting a medical procedure. I've got some issues, and I had my hand all bandaged up because I have some things going on. And I was in this hotel, and it was an evening, and I was going to fly home the next day, and I was looking over the mountains to the east, and the sun was setting, and a bottle of wine beside me, and I'm just kind of thinking about things, and I was thinking about my dad, and how around his bed, I met some of his friends. I got reacquainted with my nieces who I'd kind of lost contact with, and other people, and some good things happened around his deathbed and his dying. And this line came to me: "Fresh tenderness is burgeoned with the dying of my dad." And I love him all the more for it.
Yeah.
There was a gift there.
Yeah.
And I knew a song was coming. Well, no, I didn't immediately. I just wrote it in my phone, put the phone down, and went back to just sort of, pondering life. And then half an hour later, another line came, and every half hour, a line came. All of a sudden, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I realized I've written the song I said I wouldn't write.
Yeah, and music is beautiful for getting us through some of those times too, right? I know for me with my parents, it's still a song that comes on the radio. Yeah, where I will pull over and just weep and talk to my mom.
Yeah. A friend of mine, Chris Vi, who's passed away, he was a young man and newly married with a new child on the way. He started having some physical issues, went to the doctor, and was told that he had Lou Gehrig's disease. And he was going to die. And he was not only going to die, he's going to die. It's going to be long and slow and really, really miserable, right? So that's what a 35-year-old wants to hear with a new child on the way and all that. And he got into the car with his wife coming out of the meeting with the doctor, and they're staggered. They just don't know what to do, and they're just sort of sitting there in silence trying to absorb this. And he turned on the radio, And it was Kurt Cobain, Smells Like Teen Spirit, that agony, that primal cry.
Yeah.
There was nothing Christian about it. It wasn't. And he said what he needed at that time was that. He didn't need Steve Bell singing some peaceful, lovely thing. He needed a primal cry of agony. And the song gave him that, you know, and I've never forgot that.
Yeah.
You know,
but in as much that music can be that for the listener, how much more so can music be that for the musician, for you? I mean, we, you know, as the listener and as someone who loves music, and as someone who loves my parents, and you know, I listen to that song and I get so much from it.
Yeah.
But how much more for you being able to write it?
Well, I think
and experience it from that way, and to be able to sing it, and to
Yeah.
be able to share your dad with so many other people who didn't know him.
Right. And my songs, I mean, in particular, are all quite personal. I mean, I'm, you know, like there's different ways of thinking about songwriting. There's songwriting is almost like making a widget or a wheelbarrow. You're making a product to sell to the public. So what does the public need? They need a wheelbarrow. We're going to put a wheel here. We're going to all that kind of stuff, and we put it out there, and it works. What does the public need? They need a happy song. They need a fun song. They need a love song. So let's get a group of people together, and we'll make that widget for them, and then we'll commodify it, and that's really, really valid. I've never been good at that. Like, my songs are all personal therapy. My songs are my journal. My songs are the way I pray. My songs don't talk about how I pray. They are my prayer. Right? They don't talk about my spirituality. They are my spirituality. And so in that sense, it's very, very personal. And so the song isn't the song itself is my relationship with my father.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
It's not objectifying it. It is what it is.
Well, I think I can speak on behalf of almost everyone watching when I say that your music is that for us too.
Oh, good.
You know, it is part of my spirituality. It is part of my therapy. It is my part of my prayer when I don't know what to pray.
Yeah, good.
Right. And so, you know, that's why I think so many of us think of you as not only a musician, but a bit of a spiritual mentor, because your music has been with us on the journey.
Right.
Right. And so I think that's why this song will speak to so many, because this is a stop on the journey that most of us have or will go through.
Or are going to go through.
Right.
Yeah.
Before we play the song, there's something very special that happens at the beginning of the song that I would love for you to describe and explain.
Okay. When you hear the song opens, you're going to hear a bell ting, and then you're going to hear a shaker. You go ting, tick, 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 tick. Well, the ting, when my dad died, my daughter-in-law, Diana Pops, who's an art jeweler, literally the next day, she presented me with a little silver bowl, and it's beautiful. It's like a little thimble bowl, and there's like leaves falling in it. It's really quite gorgeous. And it's a lacrimatory. And a lacrimatory is a vessel to hold your tears, to catch your tears.
Oh, my goodness.
Traditionally, it would be a vase or a little vial. This one is, and she gave this to me, and I kept it in my pocket for about 9 months afterward.
It came in handy.
Yeah. And then one day, I remember, I don't know why I thought about this. Oh, I know what it is. I had it, and I put it down, and it hit up against a cup or something, and it made this most beautiful ting. Not like a dull sound, like it sang, and I went, oh my goodness! And I remember putting in the palm of my hand, and I got a metal fork, and I just tapped it, and it just rang out. So that's the ting that you hear, is that lacrimatory singing, the singing bowl.
Love it.
And the shaker is actually a little urn of my dad's ashes. And you know, so he was cremated, and I didn't even know this was a thing. But you can get the urn for the ashes, but you can sort of get, 5 or 6 little ones if you want a bit of them to keep.
Right.
And at first I thought, well, that's really, really weird. and then I thought maybe not. And so I asked for one. And so I have one in my office, and it's next to some other things with my dad. And again, I picked it up one day just to kind of hold it in my hand, and I heard this and that's the sound of my dad now.
Yes.
That's the only thing I got left.
Wow.
And I went, oh my goodness, and I started to shake it. And now, as a musician, and when you produce music, you're always looking for the thing that gives you the perfect sound you want. And I thought, that's a really nice shaker sound.
You know your dad would love that, right?
Yeah, I know. So that's what you're going to hear. You're going to hear ping, shik, shik, shik. Well, the ping is the bowl to catch the tears. and the shaker actually is my father.
Well, let's listen for that. This is In Memoriam.
Fresh tenderness is burdened with the dying of my dad, and I love him all the more for it. He lived his life for others, gain his death. He gave away the same, and I love him all the more for it. This son was fiercely fashioned by his father's dappled life. The way he loved his children and the way he loved his wife. My dad was hardly perfect, and I hardly give a rip. I loved him all the more for it. Not scandalized by brokenness, not scandalized by pain. But Dad could not abide the curse and hellishness of shame. He'd absorb another's failures and return them as a gift. We loved him all the more for it. My father was a trumpeter, those days have long since passed. He passed along his passion to me, eager as I was. We'd sit for hours and listen to the Tijuana brass. Loved him all the more for it. I tenderly remember when a beauty left me rent. I was too young to consider then that love is never spent. He told me pain would linger and would likely leave a dent. I loved him all the more for it. My dad was a believer, he believed that God is good. He was certain Jesus lived to show how everybody could, and that all our earthly sorrows couldn't be the final writ. We loved him all the more for it. My father was a fortress for my two sisters and I, but more so for our mom, who suffered so much of her life. He taught us how to live, and then he taught us how to die. We loved him all the more for it. Fresh tenderness is burdened with the dying of my dad. I loved him all